Okay. Hi, my name is Oriana Valderrama. I'm here with Gerardo Acosta. He's a TCU journalism graduate. We will be talking about his personal experience trying to find a job after graduation, being a non-U.S. applicant. Right now, I will let him introduce himself.
Sure. Like Oriana said, my name is Gerardo Acosta. I am 24 years old, and I am from El Salvador.
Thank you for speaking to me. Like, especially
Yeah, sure.
this topic, it's so hardly talked about in the media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's the topic is great to know, so that you can shine some light on it, and so that maybe changes can be made. As little as it may be, but it always counts.
Thank you. Well, let me begin with one of my first questions, and it's just mainly like from all of the countries where journalism is practiced. Um, why did you decide to study journalism in the U.S. specifically, and how has been like being from another country like El Salvador might affected your decision making process?
Sure. From a young age, just kind of living in a Latin American country, especially El Salvador, which, a lot of people from here migrate to the United States. Um, we just get, taught at a really young age that really the United States is maybe the best chance that we may get at an actual good career, and at actually making it in a way. You growing up, you just always think about fulfilling your dreams, but really here, at least in El Salvador, there's not a lot of chances for dreamers and for like people looking to do careers that are not as lucrative as other careers may be, and that's kind of the case with journalism. So really, I was just scrapping and fighting to see where I could do it, and I decided on the United States because, actually, my senior year of high school, I actually graduated from a U.S. high school because my dad had been sent to Arlington, Virginia. So that's where I actually finished my high school, and that's where I got my diploma. And right after that, it was really a 100%. I'm going to go to the United States. That's where I get the best opportunity, and yeah, that's really my reasoning behind it.
Okay. Well, can you tell me, like, fast forward, because how many years did you spend studying journalism?
Sure. So I went to TCU in 2015. I want to say, yeah, 2015 January, and I actually graduated in December of 2018. So my actual major was actually communications because I wanted to leave it, a little more broad, so that I could have a little more options going out of the university. And my minor was actually journalism. And yeah, throughout all of those years, I'm really grateful to have had a really good education, and I learned a lot, to be honest. Yeah.
When you graduated, like, how was the process of looking for a job in your field?
Oh, it was the worst, and it's
I, I imagine.
yeah, and not only is it the worst, kind of like with just finding something, but like really, it does take a mental toll on you. Like it's really it's a really um kind of like a horrible process because unless you've had an internship or you've had like years and years of experience, like they ask for it in all of those descriptions and requirements for the jobs, you're left wide in the open, and like no one's gonna take you unless you've had at least like 3 years of experience, or you've done an internship with them. And even getting an internship is extremely difficult because there's so many applicants, and journalism is really a career in which there's there's a like really only a few spots. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
yeah. So like it's for every city in the United States. There's usually like the local news, and then maybe if it's a major city, maybe like ABC will be stationed there, or or CNN will be stationed like in Atlanta or something like that. But other than that, and depending on like what you want to do as a journalist, there's really not a lot of spots open. And just like having to go through the process of just deciding that hey, maybe I'm just not going to find something in journalism. I might as well start looking at something else. And it was really some of the worst months of my life because I had no idea what was going to happen with my life. um and
Especially
and
being an international, because it's
yeah,
different.
exactly,
It's a different
exactly,
experience for a regular person who's just like struggling to find a job.
exactly.
It's
And so
harder, I think, right?
yeah, and so like you and I know that one of the first questions that applications have is will you require right now or in the future, will you require a visa sponsorship? And that's always like whenever you write yes, that's always going to be a like, oh, okay, so like whoever's looking at that application is going to be turned off immediately, because they're going to have to go extra miles for you. And maybe like if you don't have the resume that other people have, like you're just not going to be taken into account. You know what I mean?
It's almost like they shut the door before you even try to get in.
Exactly. Like you can't like can't even have the opportunity to talk to them and to for them to find out that hey, this guy might actually make a difference here at our company. But like nowadays it's just whatever is on paper. And if you look good on paper, then we'll take a crack at you, or like we'll take an
Right.
opportunity with you. But if not, like you're not even worth the time. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you feel like the job application process has been like unfair with non-US applicants, more specifically, like especially the ones that are not in STEM fields? But rather like in journalism in general, or like social careers, not even journalism, just like communications in general. Like, do you think the
Yeah.
process has been, it's like a little unfair? Like, if you're not a US citizen, it's hard. But if you're not a US citizen and you're not on STEM, like careers, it's even harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely believe that it's way too yeah, difficult in in every way possible. Um, Kind of like you said, like being an international, it's you get sent to the United States, to try to fulfill your dreams, and you get deposits, however thousands of dollars to whatever school you go to, and then you don't even get a chance to practice what you wanted to do. So it's I wish there was something different that we could do. But unless like more people start talking about this, then yeah, like we've said, it's a really horrible process.
What companies were like your top ones that you apply that you were like absolutely want to work there?
Do you mean like in journalism or in general?
In general, in communications, it can be as well.
Okay. So in journalism, I looked at the local news over there in Dallas. I also looked at the Star Telegram in Fort Worth. Right at that time, they only had like one position that like maybe I could apply for because like it didn't require as much
Experience.
work experience. I really looked at the kind of like in LinkedIn, whatever I could find in either Dallas or Fort Worth, or I even looked at other cities, and like it was a really tough time, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. Well,
Yeah.
and you have an inclination in sports too, right?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So, I actually also looked at teams where I could work at. Again, I think one of the question that always threw them off, and like why I didn't, receive any even reply. I didn't even receive any replies from the jobs that I applied to, is that question. That turn off question that is, will you require a sponsorship for your visa? And like I said, I looked at many cities and many teams, many newspapers, many TV news, and again, it was the same thing for all of them. Because also, I hadn't done any internships with anything of like um, in the journalism career. So I think that was also like a problem. But again, also applying for internships was an extremely difficult process, because for one reason or another one, like maybe they received like better applicants, or like
Of course.
whatever the reason may be. You know what I mean? So it was yeah, it was difficult. Yeah.
So, after you couldn't find a job, what did you do? What happened?
So I graduated in December, and I really started looking for a job like around February, and end of February, and start of March. So for March and April, I looked like everywhere in the journalism career, or like more in the, or like also in any of the communication fields. And I just couldn't find anything. And I ended up. So one of my friends worked at a company, which was like a printing company. Um, and she like it, and this was already in May. So
Mm-hmm.
keep in mind, I had been there. I had been looking for a job for March, April, and then May. Like it was literally the last week before I was gonna leave for somewhere else to try, another water. Like I was trying to go to Washington D.C., but
Right.
that last week that I was supposed to be there, my friend told me, "Hey, there's an opening. Do you wanna, apply and everything?" And so I applied for the job, and thankfully I got it, because she was already in there, and also like that company had already worked with other people, kind of like me, that we're only going to be there for the 1 year, but they did not.
Offer
But they
sponsorship.
they didn't offer for a sponsorship. They didn't offer sponsorship for your visa. Like it was like right on the day that they hired me, they told me, and that was actually one of the questions. So we already know that you're gonna have a start date and an end date. So what are you hoping to learn from this experience? And that was one of the questions I got, and so like that was immediately that closed another door. Because I wasn't gonna be able to stay with that company, but it was what I had, and so that's I took it. I took the experience, and but once that finished, I had to come back here to my country.
That must that's baffling for me. Just to be like accepted in a job and have the door shut like right away. Like they don't even give you a chance to prove yourself to the company to
Yeah,
see if you're valuable,
yeah,
like a valuable asset to the company. That's incredible.
yeah, and like I don't even blame the companies that do it, because it's it's
A
just
lot of
gonna be.
paperwork.
yeah, and it's just gonna be. I don't know how lucrative it's gonna be for them to be paying for someone when you can just hire a local person, a U.S. citizen, and it's and like with those jobs, you're probably gonna get the same thing from because they're not like really technical jobs, the ones that are available
Right.
to us. So it's like, why even hire an international guy when you can just hire a local guy?
Yeah. With that, like, why do you think it's important though? For not only news organizations, for any communications to sponsor non-U.S. reporters, because I've been like thinking about that question a lot because there's a lot that we can offer of like the world view of like events in general that maybe someone from the US couldn't. So maybe for someone like a reporter from the US doesn't know everything that there is to know of a situation in El Salvador or in Brazil. So why do you think it's important for them, like benefit them and the audiences to have like non-US reporters?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point of view, and that's a good question. I think what we bring as international journalists is just a whole other worldview, a whole other perspective, a whole other culture. A whole other way of communicating. I mean, and it's the more to me, I always think that the more the better, and like the more perspectives we have, the more worldviews. You're just gonna be rich in that aspect of your company. You're gonna be so culturally rich that I think you're always gonna succeed, and you're always gonna be set apart if you're a company that does that. Because really, in the United States, it's we always get the same thing. We always get the same views on
One-sided.
everything.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch a conservative news station, then you watch Fox News. And if you want to watch a liberal news station, then you watch CNN or MSNBC. And you're just always going to get the same thing. It's so predictable. It's so like, why even watch it? Because I'm gonna get the same thing, and I'd rather be watching a lot of different things and a lot of different worldviews instead of just the monotonous you know
Biased.
yeah, and biased news that we get. And I think the even if you see like the international CNN or like Latin American
Mm-hmm.
CNN, you see that news from all over the world gets covered. But no, in the American CNN or in the American whatever news outlet, um, you get the same thing. You barely get any international news unless it's like coronavirus or something, like something that
Of course.
takes over the world. But unless
Unless it's
that's
relevant to the Americans, then it's not even worth
yeah.
covering it.
And when you can be receiving so many news from all over the world, and you can be learning so much about other cultures, and you can be not be you can it's I feel like it's like living in a cave, and you don't let
Mm-hmm.
anything in, and you don't let anything out. And I think American culture would be prosperous with another this new way, and this more like inclusive way of letting more international journalists be part of the media.
So I know you're like very passionate about what you like studied. Like with your blog, the podcast that you made, like like if you had been hired in any of these companies as a reporter, what would you like to be covering? Like what would you like your projects to be? Like did you have like any goals doing it? Like aside of like, your personal blog and yeah, like talking about
Sure. So I am really into a lot of creative writing. I really liked the long form. I really liked really digging into a topic and going however extra miles to really cover and accurately cover every side of a story. So I was really flexible in the topics that I wanted to do, because I think that I'm very passionate about a lot of things, and not only sports, not only politics. So I I really didn't have like one specific job that I was like, oh, I would love to do that. I was passionate about a lot of things, which I think a good journalist should be. Passionate about a lot of things, and passionate about accurately covering every side of the news. But yeah, like I said, but in an ideal world, I would have loved to be doing sports. But again, I was very flexible in what I wanted to do.
Right, of course.
Hmm.
And I bet like you could have covered like a lot of international news as well. Like if
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Central America especially, I would feel like if they had to send someone in, I mean, they probably send someone who has more experience in that
yeah,
area.
absolutely. So like even the for classes, like I had to do articles, or like I had to do long forms, or like I had to do broadcasting news, or like I had to record things, different things that I had to do. Even those things I was really passionate about doing, because like the most random topic I was really passionate about doing. Like this one time I did kind of like an article, and like a really, it was more of a long form, and I also did like a video for the immigrant workers that were working in TCU. And I love doing that, because I got to hear so many stories. I got to hear, and I got a lot of gratitude from people, because they were never gonna be covered by anyone in the university, because TCU is more is it's like around maybe 50% white, and then like 20%, or like even maybe even less, like 10% black, and like 4 to 5% Hispanic. So like they were never going to be covered by anyone else other than
Someone
the
who actually
few,
has.
someone like me who's Hispanic as well, and also an immigrant. So the people that are not represented in the student population, they're just never going to be covered, because people are not passionate about them if they're not something that represents themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the spot with that honestly, because that is really all it is with
Yeah.
reporting and writing and trying to cover something that you know you're passionate about. Because if there's no passion about what you're covering, then probably it's not gonna be any good.
It's not going to be any good, and it's not going to be any accurate, and you're just going to half ass it, and like it's not even going to be it's not even going to be good, like you said.
Yeah. Well, to finish off, I guess I would say like, what would you say? Um, you know, how would things should be dealt differently by these organizations that really don't know the importance of really having that broad, um, that broad staff in the workplace of people that are different than them. Like, to be more specific, like what would you think that could be done better for this situation?
So I think there's a lot of factors and a lot of people that could be doing a difference. Sure, you can go big and start making laws that force you to hire at least like 1 or 2 people in your company that are going to require like a sponsorship in your visa. Sure, you can do that, and then there's also like, I think there's like little changes that we could be doing. Even us as students, and us as the international journalists. I think if we actually created more organizations between ourselves that represent us, and like maybe even like fraternity. I don't know. I don't even want to call them fraternities, but like unions.
Right.
things like that that represent us, and that, in like a place where we could be together, and creating opportunities for ourselves, and speaking to other organizations where we could be trying to create more opportunities for ourselves. I think that could also be a great solution to the problem.
I think so
I
too.
think there's a lot of things we can do, and it's not just the laws that are in place. I think it's also the people, and trying to change the culture is kind of difficult, but you start by the little things like that, like speaking about it, and like writing an article like you're doing, and like things like that. Like I don't think it's one good answer. I think there's a lot of good answers.
Well, that was a really good answer too.
Thank you, thank you.
Ah, well, I think that's about it. But thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
hopefully
I
this creates
I
the
kind of got
change.
passionate. But yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and if you need anything else, just let me know, because I love the topic that you're writing about, and I wish the best of luck in your project.
Thank you so much.